Hey friends, I have over 12 years of experience living in Denmark and I have made every mistake possible. If you're an expat and want to ruin your relationship with Danes, watch on. On this video, I'll tell you the 6 things you can do today to piss a Dane off. If you're new here, my name is Mario and on this channel I help expats in Denmark and some Danes on finances, investing, buying a house and overall making the most of their life here in Scandinavia. I love Denmark and I can tell you with all certainty that Danes are very nice people. They are curious, they are not judgmental, and they're also especially humble. But like any other people in the world, they can also get triggered. So what are the things that trigger Danes? 1. Tell them how great you are. Danes, and you could also generalize this to Scandinavians, don't like people that stand out. In Denmark, you're not better than anyone else. People that will hint that, oh look, I'm so good, I have so much money, look at my job, and so on, are not popular here, to say the least. So don't brag. If you're a successful person, be it in monetary terms, in your job, you name it, Danes and the society as a whole will expect you to remain humble. There's even a convention for all this called the Janteloven or the laws of Jante, and while these are not a law per se, they're code of conduct that is kind of very much ingrained into the Scandinavian societies. Speaking about societies, Denmark is a very egalitarian society, and you will find that despite you're, for example, an up-and-coming entrepreneur or you're a fancy CEO, you have a nice and prestigious education, that in Denmark will not prioritize you over, for example, a blue-collar person in almost any context. So, of course, yeah, you might have higher salaries and so on, but when it comes to the day-to-day interactions with the society, by default, the way of thinking is that, no, just because you're like this, you're not going to be better than anyone else. You'll find that in Denmark, the society as a whole is just not hierarchical. You'll see it in companies, you'll see it in the way you hang out with friends and so on. It's a big contrast when you look, for example, to a place like the US or even Dubai, for instance. Those are places that if you don't have status, if you don't have money, you're basically a second-class citizen. That's definitely not the case here. And people, if you think that you're too good and that you should be on a first-class citizen level, they will make it clear to you that that's not the way to go. Personally, and this is my opinion, this is just refreshing. I just like the way it is here, and it was a bit of a contrast, for example, from where I came from. So in my country, Argentina, and also in the Americas as a whole, you could say, people come with all this personal branding mentality and like, look at me, I'm amazing, look at my CV, super good and so on. But here it's basically like, even now when people approach me like that, based on like people reaching out to me, I'm like, cringe. So yeah, of course, when it comes to being in Denmark, just remember, be humble, you're not best than anyone else, or at least don't verbalize that too much. 2, be late or break the rules. Really. So in Denmark, if you say or you commit to someone that you'll be there at 2 p.m., be there at 2 p.m. If you're going to be a bit late, even more than 5 minutes, even more than 3 minutes, just send a quick note and say, hey, I'm going to be late, I'm not being arriving on time, sorry. If you do arrive late, even if it's just 5 minutes, I think it's polite to say, hey, I'm sorry. And this is all about being polite. Here, people expect you to be there on time, so if you're not, it's just not nice. Also, this is the thing about being sensible. Not being late also doesn't mean not being early. And if you come too early, you'll also have the opportunity to piss Danes off. So just keep to the schedule. If you say 2 p.m., arrive at 2 p.m. Not, at 1:45 or 2:15. Just keep on time. And again, for some countries this is not as important, but at least for here in Denmark it is. Now that we are on it, remember that here the rules are there to be followed. So if they say don't jaywalk, don't jaywalk. If they say do the signs with your bike, do the signs with your bike, and all that sort of stuff. Denmark is a place where the rules are very clear and people are very direct about it. So if the rules say something, just follow the rules as the way they're written, the way they're what people tell you to do. So don't really try to interpret things your way in the sense that, oh, 2:15 is not late and so on. Like if they say one thing, just do it. And honestly, the moment you embrace this, it makes everything super easy. 3, invade personal space. And everyone knows about personal space, at least that's what I hope. In my country, for instance, where I'm from, people hang out really close to each other. So it's very common to touch each other, to hug each other, like even people that are not your best friends, it's just the way it is, right? And that's incredibly common and it's expected in a way. Here in Northern Europe, it's very different. So, you have more distance, no hugs. Sometimes you have handshakes when you arrive and leave to some place, but that's it. So far, I mean, that's okay. That's good. If you, again, understand this concept of personal space, you can take this as a given. But what strikes me about Denmark is that they take this concept of personal space a bit broader. For example, in the United States, you could say that people are not as touchy or close-up talkers as we are in South America, but they're a lot into the small talk. And here in Denmark, that's an absolute no-go. In Denmark, basically the rule is that if you don't know someone, you don't talk to them, you basically leave them alone. That means that you don't talk to people when you're in the waiting line, when you're sitting in the metro, and so on. That's definitely not good, and they don't like it. 4, touch their dog without asking. And look, I absolutely love dogs, and once I understood that in Denmark it wasn't appropriate to talk with strangers, I thought that we would still have what I would like to call a dog exception. And the idea is that when you see someone walking a cute little puppy, so let's say a Shiba Inu, or you see someone with a French Bulldog and so on, I mean, again, as I say, I love dogs, you would be expected to, at least in my culture, it would be expected that, especially in this case, go down to the dog, pet the dog, ask the owner what is the dog's name, and so on. But in Denmark, no. Please refrain, because you will get bad looks. So leave people alone, and that includes people and their dogs. In Denmark, there's even a convention that if the leash of the dog has a yellow ribbon, that means that by all means you should not go and touch the dog. So that's kind of a convention that, like, you could read it as a stay away sign, like stay away from my dog. I first learned about this in Denmark. Now it appears it's a global convention, so it's like not Denmark specific, but I think the whole thing started in Sweden, so you know. There we go. Last on this, everything I have said on dogs and on people also applies to kids. So by all means, don't touch other people's kids. And I even don't like myself when other people would go and touch my son. So here in Denmark is an instant rage. Please don't do it. One quick disclaimer before we move on is that here in Denmark, of course, this is the mean, but of course there are gonna be some exceptions. And I have met people in Denmark by sitting in the sauna and like just chit-chatting. And I have also met people by asking them about their dogs. So it's not that it's impossible to break the ice in this context. But again, by and large, in comparison with other places, the mean is that it's not as likely for you to do this, or it's not as appreciated as it would be in other places. So just keep that in mind. Doesn't mean that you can just go and pet any dog you see. 5, don't bring cake for your birthday. So in Denmark you have many birthday traditions. You likely have seen that the Danish flags appear everywhere when it's your birthday or someone's birthday. That's nice. If you have been lucky, for example, you might even get one, for example, huge Danish flag as we have in Merchandance with our co-workers. So that's pretty cool. But birthday traditions don't end there. One thing that is absolutely critical in Denmark is that when it's your birthday, you bring the cake to the office and to your coworkers. If you don't bring the cake, you will genuinely disappoint your coworkers and colleagues. So you really can't miss it. It's again, you will be a total spoiler and you will get them genuinely sad. This is something really important to them and they will really look forward that in your birthday, okay, you bring the cake and everyone eats the cake. I heard of people even getting fired for this. Like, okay, not really, but you get the point that if you screw this up, it will really impact your relationship with your coworkers, especially if you're new to the job. So people would really appreciate it if you do this right. And by the way, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I publish videos like this, hopefully useful and entertaining every single week. There's over 50 videos published already, so make sure you click subscribe, join the channel, and hope to see you also in more future videos. 6, complain about Denmark. So Danes get really triggered if you complain about Denmark. So even if your complaint is legit, they really don't like it. If you complain about their country, not good, especially if you're a foreigner. I even got nasty comments. I don't really criticize Denmark on this channel almost at all, but I got comments because I was saying that the supermarkets don't have a good selection here in comparison to other European countries, or also that the football commentators lacking passion and a bit boring. Even the small things like this, they were like, whoa, comments, people angry and so on. Danes are very proud of their country, and they certainly don't want us foreigners who have picked this place to be our home, who, have moved all the way here to their great country to mouth Denmark. So, and I get that's fair and I understand. So next time you want to complain about something specific about Denmark, so for example that your taxes are high or things are expensive, blah blah, just keep it to yourself. Don't, unless you have a very close relationship with the Dane, it's better that you keep these things to yourself and treat this carefully with the Danes, especially online. Again, put yourself in their shoes. They're welcoming us to their country. They don't want us, that we just being welcome to this country, to start complaining about. As I said, I am personally all love and no complaints about Denmark, and on this exact video you will hear my favorite things about living in Copenhagen. Thank you for watching and talk to you next week.